Hello and welcome to another update video about Cardano. Cardano moving up quite a bit at the moment. Yeah, it is following Bitcoin to a degree. In the last few days, it actually moved a bit stronger than Bitcoin, which is good, which is also important for Cardano. And we talked in the last video about, if I zoom out a little bit, you can see that that Cardano has been in this very, very long correction. Yeah, and that Cardano is still in this descending channel. So you've got a downward sloping trend line here, and that Cardano was, after its initial move up that started here a few days ago, after it made a high low, that it started to follow this ascending trend line. I told you, as long as we stay above this ascending trend line, we can assume the uptrend is continuing, and we had so far two pullbacks to this trend line. And what I need to tell you is that the structure of this uptrend is looking interesting. You don't have overlaps. It looks, to be fair, fairly impulsive, okay? Which is a good sign, which you didn't have necessarily here, okay? So it's looking good because here you did have a bit of an overlap. Not a strong one, you did have an overlap, don't have one at the moment. And you also see only a few red candles here generally in this move up. Looking generally interesting, not saying that this is already the move to new all-time highs or whatever, but it's starting to look interesting. Especially what we don't really have is this messiness here. Yeah, that was back in the end of January, where you had a lot of these 99% retracements. So after this correction here, that's it. You made basically basically a higher low, and then you started to move up. So that is good, also from an Elliott wave structural point of view. And we're moving up quite strongly at the moment, and we seem to be breaking out of this descending trend line. That is important, but there is something else important, and that is what I told you in the last video. We can always, any crypto has a potential to make any crazy short-term gains. Yeah, 5-10% a day is just part of the volatility. What is important though is that Cardano breaks through this green resistance area. I think that would be a first good sign and a clear sign that the downtrend could be over. Now that target area here, or that resistance area is between 97 cents and $1.01. That starts at the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level. That is a very important one. By the way, I didn't really talk about it yet, but one reason for Cardano's life signs might be that input-output are exploring, I think, a burn mechanism. I think their view might have changed a little bit. I didn't look into it too far, but I read a few news articles about it. I still need to verify and validate everything, but I did hear about it. I think that is generally, I know Charles originally didn't like it, or he still doesn't like it, the idea of a burn mechanism, but in my opinion, most cryptos do it. Most cryptos benefited from it, and I think Cardano can benefit from it as well. And it could then generally lead to higher prices, which is nice. Yeah, of course, as always, it will be already priced in then. Yeah, that is why we might just see that price increase at the moment, because people factor it in. But anyway, we're getting close to that decision point here. That is important here. You need to understand that we're already getting a bit exhausted on the 8-hour chart now. Yeah, what is the MACD doing? 8-hour chart getting exhausted a bit. The MACD is still pushing up with momentum, yeah. So you can see that actually we always need to understand what a certain crypto typically does. So typically going up, did that here as well. At the peak then, when you see the first red candles, then it's typically over, and you see that momentum decreasing again. Now that hasn't happened yet. At the moment, still pushing higher. And as I said, as long as you are above this ascending trend line, it should be all good. Yeah, you of course can always get a pullback to the trend line, and this can be regarded in an uptrend, potential buying opportunities. Not saying that you have to buy, that's up to you, but a pullback to a trend line usually if that trend line then holds, is a potential buying opportunity. But now on the 4-hour chart also we are overbought. So at some point here I do expect that pullback back to a trend line, That will happen shortly, because you're on the 4-hour chart already overbought. We did that here. We were overbought here, and we pulled back to the trend line. Now you're getting overbought again. it might be a bit of a bearish divergence that is forming here. So you make higher highs on the price, you make a lower high on the RSI. Okay, so what is the daily doing? The daily also, and that is what we talked about in the last video, and it seems to be confirmed, and that could be a game changer for Cardano. Yeah, that is what I said in the last video, and that is so important. That is that 50 line on the RSI on the daily for Cardano. So Cardano has been below 50, and the 50 line is the middle line of the RSI, basically. Above that, you call it bullish momentum, below that bearish momentum. And you can clearly see that throughout this whole correction since the middle of September, Cardano was in bearish momentum. There were 1, 2, 3, 4 fake outs here. Yeah. And I told you that a good and objective sign of a breakout would be to break out above the 50 line on the daily RSI. And you did see that already in the last video. So that was already a good sign. I showed you that sign that we could move higher just because we broke above the 50 line on the daily RSI. That is a clear indicator. Now, of course, nothing is without risk, because there are always risks for fake outs. Yeah, but it seems like that the RSI did retest the 50 line when it pulled back to the trend line, and it is now pushing higher. Now that is a good sign. Yeah, getting back into bullish momentum for Cardano on the daily is very important. We also see that very nice MACD bullish momentum forming, yeah, and increasing as well. So generally, what the chart is doing here is looking interesting. And as I said before, the low could already be in. There's no guarantee that the price is going to go into this area here. Cardano did a long time ago already reach my target area. It did come below it though. And the next logical target would be that 55-cent level. Will we ever see it? I cannot guarantee it. That is why I started dollar cost averaging in already when we hit the $1.08 mark and below. And I'm happy now to wait for increasing prices, as probably the rest of the community is as well. And I encourage you to have the long-term view here, because Cardano, the price targets for the next major wave up will be above $4.50. And I can't wait to see Cardano perform, because if Cardano performs, and when Cardano performs, it can happen very, very quickly. It's amazing, but we really need to break through that green zone here. Yeah, that is for me the first really important sign. I mean, the first sign was maybe that 50 line RSI breakout. We obviously in a short-term uptrend here, as you can see on the trend line. In the last video, we talked about as well that we broke above the 20-day moving average. And so far it's playing out. I mean, we talked about the descending wedge, yeah, which is a bullish pattern. You had a breakout pretty much like you had it back in June, July. Here you can see that, yeah, where we moved up as well. So all of that is happening. But we also need to understand that we need to break above the previous high. That is the next important sign. And if you do that, let's take a look at the VPVR, where we would have the next major resistances. So you can see it here then, probably around the area of 134, 135. But also, if we zoom in a little bit, you can see that we have also resistance here around that fib level here. That is the 0.5 fib level at 126. Yeah, that is what I would expect then. So generally, Cardano, I mean, it's time that the correction has finished, isn't it? I can't promise you it's over now. Primary expectation would still be that we come down once more until we break at least above that $1.1, $1.2 level. Then I will get more optimistic, which doesn't mean I didn't buy already, because I did buy, as you know, to be prepared for these pumps. And we are in the last meters of the correction. Yeah. The really good sign that we try to break out of this descending channel. If that happens, then also we could probably expect something like a rocket start here. And again, last time we broke here above that 20-day moving average also, it did lead to quite a bit of a pump, I would say, right? So that is an important sign. One more important sign is, are we actually above the EMA ribbon on the daily? Let's take a look at that. That's one sign for you to look at as well. At the moment, not yet. So we are working our way through the EMA ribbon. There's one more EMA here, and that is pretty much at that 97-cent level. Therefore, we need to get through that green zone. But yeah, on the 8-hour chart, again, I showed you that indicator a lot of times. So long signal on the EMA ribbon on the 8-hour chart. Probably a long signal we already had here, and I showed you that in the last video as well. on the 4-hour chart, EMA ribbon. And yeah, it's looking good for Cardano, I must say that. But we just need to be careful. There will probably be a bit of a rejection here at 97 cents, and possibly together with that a pullback, or maybe even earlier, to that ascending trend line. And hopefully we hold the ascending trend line, then we could really push higher from there and yeah, break out of this pattern. And maybe what you could be looking at here, that could be really a cup and handle forming. So you could do something like that, get all the way up there, get a bit of a handle shape, and then break out. Okay, that's what I'm looking at here. Potential scenario, absolutely. Looks like accumulation down there. Very nice round shape. Looking good. Looking good. And you don't hear me say that often, but that is really looking good. So I'm still a bit careful, but and we need clear signals here. We need to break above that level. But yeah, why not having a bit of optimism in this current time where everything seems so bad, right? So looking good. Nice start to the day here. Hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.